Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a great day today. Welcome back to the show, and in this video we're going to be doing a review for The Avengers, which came out in 2012. Now the MCU started back in 2008 and it's still going to this day. I don't know what they're going to do after the multiverse, but they really like their money. Anyways, this was the 6th movie in the MCU after the previous movies had kind of set up the individual characters. This was the team-up movie, and I gotta say, it was pretty successful. So to just kind of hop right into the review, obviously this was set up properly. When it comes to the first 5 movies of the MCU, some of them most people would agree are pretty good, while a few others might be mediocre, kind of mixed reviews. But overall, they were good enough to set up this movie. And here you have the 6 original Avengers. Obviously, you have Iron Man, who's just as good as usual, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, and Hulk. And Loki was definitely the right villain for this movie. If you've ever heard of the original Avengers comic, he was the villain in that. Because when you have all of these people teamed up, he's definitely the one that would be the biggest threat. He would be the mastermind. And you definitely see that in this movie. He has a plan this whole time. He's very slippery. And he's obviously one of those complex villains that's not just evil and you don't know anything else about them. You definitely see his personality as he has different kind of emotions, different kinds of sides to him. And overall, the story they chose is pretty straightforward, but it's good. Obviously, you have them teaming up, and that's pretty much what this movie is. But it's just done really well. It's very basic, but it's done well. Obviously, S.H.I.E.L.D. plays a huge role into this, and Nick Fury is definitely a good character. All of the characters actually are standout characters in their own ways. This movie is very iconic, very quotable, and a team-up movie like this hadn't really been done at this point in history. So they actually had to put effort into this because they didn't know that people would just show up and they would get a bunch of money. And the tension in here is pretty good. The pacing is also good. Just the way it's structured is really nice, and it builds up to the final battle of New York. And it's just made to where you care about these characters by the time the final battle comes around. And in the short time that they meet each other and team up, they change a lot and they grow these connections to each other. And when it comes to these superhero movies, a lot of times they try to put in action, comedy, romance, and all of that kind of stuff in here so that a lot of people will like it. But in this movie, it knows specifically it just wants to lean into action and comedy for the most part. I don't really think there's any romance in here, really. There definitely is a little bit of emotion, but it decides to fully lean into the action and the comedy, and it just does that very well. So it's always nice when movies like this know exactly what they want to be. And visually speaking, the CGI is pretty good. This was definitely from an era where obviously it was being used, but not so much that people just got lazy with it. So there was definitely a lot of practical effects in here as well, a lot of stunts, and it just feels like it was executed to near perfection. Overall, on the quality scale of 0 to 100, we'll give it a 91%, and you definitely got to check this out if you haven't already and you're a fan of superhero movies, especially Marvel. But let me know what you think about it in the comments section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and if there's a movie you would like me to review, you can also let me know down there, and I will see you guys in the next one.